have a little bit of that post-nasal drip.
yeah,
You know,
me too.
I'll wake up, sneeze, and then I'm usually okay the rest of the day.
But is it actually okay? We are on, so yeah,
Oh.
get a little closer,
Hello.
and I'll do an intro for you real quick. And this is how I do it. I just hit record and we start going. I don't really do
Okay.
an intro.
Sounds good.
Oh. And I will say, for the millions of listeners that Kiley is going to have, we're not making a political statement. I'm just getting over a cold here, so I did mask up so that I don't pass it to her. So.
I appreciate it. So thank you.
And I am going to get comfortable here. Now I better sit
I
forward.
was gonna say, you're not gonna put on the rest of your Harry Potter garb?
I
I feel like I'm witching it over here all by
I
myself.
know. No, I don't want to get up again. My
right,
wand's
fair enough,
over
fair
there
enough.
anyway. I could cast some spells like
You can't cast any
stupefied.
spells without your
I can't.
wand.
I have to have my wand.
Not in Harry Potter world.
So yes, Kiley Jeanne, local
Yes.
musician, artist. I guess we randomly met because I stalked you. Because I have this thing where I just start looking for local artists that are performing. I love the solo acoustic singer-songwriter thing.
Thank you.
I mean, obviously I like going to see full bands, but there is something about the intimate shows when it's just a person and a guitar singing. I just love that presentation.
Well, I agree, but it's what I do, so I feel like I'm a little bit biased.
You do it very well. So yeah, so I just went out to one of your shows and again, probably was way too forward and was like, oh my gosh,
No.
you should be on the podcast and yada, yada, yada. Found you on Facebook. So we are here at Farger Lake House. And this is, I
Yes.
just learned this by talking to somebody I met at M&R Cellars. This is not Yakult, this is Amboy.
Right.
I always
Technically,
thought it
yeah.
was Yakult. Okay.
Well, they're small towns, you know, so it's
Yeah.
they sort of run into each other, and nobody really knows where one starts and stops
Okay.
and the other one ends. But
And
unless you live here,
You'll see
So-
me, if I glance over, I'm just making sure the indicator light's
sure.
working.
I was going to say,
so-
should we be orienting
that's-
ourselves that way,
no,
or
that's a-
orienting towards you?
Oh no, toward each other.
Okay.
Yeah. This is a conversation.
This is new to me.
Forget
so.
forget the camera and mics there. you
Okay,
know.
perfect. I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna do this too.
No. So I'll sometimes look over just to make sure it's still recording, just
Okay,
out of habit.
cool.
But yeah. So Farger Lake House in Amboy, Washington.
Yes.
Amazing restaurant. They have a lounge, and they apparently do a lot of live music, which I
Yeah.
didn't know until
They-
recently.
Yeah, every Monday and Thursday, I think. And
Okay.
they also do, there's an open mic also that Dan Dingman does.
Yes, I guess we can
So-
promote him. This is supposed to be about you, but we'll,
Right.
but
I think it's like one Wednesday.
It's
you have
yes,
to look
I
at the
did it.
website,
That was the
but
first time I played
yeah.
out. I think it's the first or second Wednesday of every month. So yeah, check it out, guys. Anyway, so you are here performing tonight. This is Halloween 2024,
Happy Halloween.
and it's you have a song release.
I do.
It's
Yes.
an original song,
Yes.
and we're kind of celebrating the release of that. It's going to be on Spotify.
It is on Spotify as of this morning,
Okay.
and because it's my first release, I didn't totally know what I was doing, so
Okay.
I didn't choose a release date that was further out. So it should all be on any streaming service wherever you
Oh.
stream music by like the end of the week. But each one takes a little bit longer for their
Okay.
approval process.
So it's
I didn't know that.
It's active on Spotify today, but eventually it'll be like on Amazon Music and
Yes.
iTunes. And
Yep.
Oh, that's
Deezer,
awesome.
TikTok, anywhere you stream music, anywhere
Okay.
you want to listen to it.
You
but
can stream music on TikTok. I thought it was just
you
for
can
videos.
use sounds on TikTok.
Oh, I didn't know.
So
I don't.
yeah.
I'm not a TikTok person.
Neither am
but
I,
if it's-
so
if
take it with a
helps-
grain of
If
salt.
it helps expose your song,
Yes.
use it.
Yes, exactly.
So,
So that is the goal, but I'm not currently on TikTok either.
What's
so
the name of the song?
it's called Fair Enough.
Okay, so
So-
let's dive into it. I do want to
Sure.
talk about your origin story relating to music, but let's start with the song. What was the inspiration?
Oh man.
What's the song about?
Well, that's a good question. Well, the song is about a breakup, as
Okay.
most good songs are.
Oh yeah,
And,
Taylor Swift has a few of those.
just a few. And it's actually a pretty old song for me because I've got like a major backlog of music that I've written that I haven't released yet. So
okay, so that's
it's an
interesting.
older
you
tune.
do you do keep like a notebook of ideas and,
Oh, yeah.
and revisit them when you get inspired. Something clicks.
absolutely.
Is that what
like,
happened with this?
I think the intention was always that I would start releasing my oldest stuff first. Like my first good songs, I wanted to make space for them when I was actually actively releasing music, but it's just taken me kind of a while to get
Okay.
to that place.
Okay.
So, because I originally I thought I would have somebody else produce it and record it and do all of that, but it's expensive. And
Was this self-produced then?
Yep, I did everything myself. So I recorded it, I produced it, I wrote it, I sang it, and I played the guitar. There's even some piano in there. I don't play piano, but I learned how to play piano a little bit for
That's
this
amazing.
song,
And
so.
were you able to do all this? Thank God for technology, because of the software now. You can basically record in your home on a laptop.
Yep, that's exactly what I did. Yeah, so just if you
Wow.
have a good microphone,
Yes.
then and a decent program, then you can kind of
Okay.
do whatever you want. But it takes a long time to figure out how to do those things.
A lot of trial and
So,
error.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that it's the best or anything. Like, I mean, it's as professionally produced as I am able to do it now,
Okay.
and I'm really proud of the result. But I just, as I release more and more music, I know I'll get better and better, and probably at some
Yeah.
point look back on this and be like, wow, I would have done a lot of stuff different. But that's
Absolutely.
okay.
Well, that is a ton of bands do this. What, they'll put out songs 20 years later, the remastered version.
Right,
So
exactly. You
do
can
that.
always re-release. And, what I'm learning is presence is more important than perfection. And
Yes.
music is what I want to do for a living, and doing these gigs is really fun.
Mhm.
And it's certainly better than, serving coffee or waitressing or something
Yeah,
like that.
or working retail or
Right,
something.
exactly.
Yes.
But the end goal is was always to do my own music,
Mhm.
and eventually to book shows where I'm doing all original music. And I've got this image in my head of that person who like really needs to hear the song being able to hear it when they're feeling like they need it, and to have people like singing my songs back to me from stage.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Because
So
it's gonna connect.
right, when
with
that
people.
happens, I'll have made it. So
You're doing it now. I think you're already
Thanks.
doing it now, but I understand what you're saying. So let's go back to Fair Enough.
Sure,
This
sure.
was one of your first ones that you wrote?
No, I mean, it's one of the first songs that I wrote when I played guitar, I think is the most accurate thing, because I've
Okay.
always written poetry and songs since I was a kid.
Okay.
But I picked up the guitar about 22, 23, and then I had a really terrible breakup, and it just sort of threw me into this really quiet, contemplative place where I needed to work through all these emotions, and I had this outlet now with the guitar.
Yeah.
I was able to accompany myself. I knew like 4 or 5 chords, I think, at the
four
time that I
basic
wrote
chords
it.
that everybody uses.
Right,
yes.
exactly. And so I've got some really core tunes that came out of that for me, and Fair Enough is one of them. And so Fair Enough it's like at the end of processing this, and it's this moment of it's this moment of surrender, where it's just like it's the letting go of the expectations of wanting things to have worked out, of that the moment of realizing like this is the way it's going to be, and that's okay, and nobody did anything wrong, but you're still like in that dark space where you haven't
Yeah.
quite gotten over it yet, but you're finally at the acceptance point.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Oh, I can
Am I
completely
speaking
relate.
gibberish?
Yes. You have to go through the mourning process, but you do reach the point where you realize
Right.
the acceptance. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
it's over.
So that's the the title of the song, and it's one of those songs that doesn't have the title repeat too much throughout the song. It's actually just shows up right at the very end.
Okay.
But
That's kind of
but
cool.
yeah, it's kind
I
of
like
that fair enough. Like throw my hands up in the air, surrender to the universe, and let it be okay that it's over, that it's gone, that it's broken, whatever.
But you
know.
were in that place when you wrote this.
Yes.
And was it one of those that kind of came quickly, or did you have to shelve it for a while and go back to it?
Oh no, the best songs always come out
That's
like
what they say.
emotional vomit or something.
Yes.
It's just all in one. So yeah, it was.
And
It was
why
yeah,
do some of
one
the
those.
best songs come from the bad emotions? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Oh.
That's a question that I have asked myself a lot, because if I'm really honest with myself, I'm kind of a sad girl songwriter, and I like don't want to be, because there's so many wonderful things in my life. I'm so happy. I have so many great emotions to draw from, and the amount of songs that I draw that emotion out of and write a song about is like minuscule compared to the ones that are about heartbreak or anger or,
I
disillusionment, existential dread.
Is it just because the quote unquote negative emotions are just more powerful? They hit you harder,
That might be.
which maybe brings out the creative process more?
That might be. I think also it has to do with solitude for me, at least.
Oh, okay.
I'm not one of those creative people who wants to sit in a room full of people and write new songs. There are some songwriters who absolutely thrive doing that. I'm not one of them. My process is to get really quiet, be absolutely as alone as possible, and then I kind of write the same chords. I'll find a chord progression I kind of like, and I'll play it. And then I'll just start saying things, start singing things, and at some point I'll say something true. and it's like, oh crap, that stays. Are we good still?
Yeah, I just got scared for a second. I wanted to make sure that the actual running time was, I wanted to make sure I actually hit start.
Right.
And I did.
Smart,
yeah,
smart.
I did. I could see the seconds
That's
ticking.
a rookie mistake, but we've all made it.
Judas Priest. So you're not going to go to Nashville and get in the writers' room with a bunch of, how there's that group of writers that just team up together, but that's not necessarily, maybe you could eventually.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe eventually, or maybe if there's other songwriters in the room, that creates a different sort of atmosphere.
Right.
But as
so
far as
far, it's been a solo thing.
far it's been a solitary journey as that goes.
But you said Fair Enough came pretty quickly.
Very quickly. It was definitely one of those one and done, one night crying sessions, and then boom, it's out there. It's
I don't
want to
get too much in the weeds, but did you have the hook first or the verses?
That's a good question. There's not much of a hook. The verses is really where it comes back to.
Okay.
So I'm sure it was verses. It was a long time ago now, I guess, the writing process, but I almost never have the hook before anything else. Or it'll just be a hook for forever, and I'm like, someday that's going to fit somewhere, and sometimes, but usually it just all comes out from the beginning to the end for me. So
then do you tend to write lyrics first, or do you come up with a melody and put lyrics to it? Or both, maybe.
That's a good question too. Sometimes it's an idea. Sometimes it's like a phrase that will be like, that's good. I could expand upon that thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but usually, no matter if I start with nothing or if I start with a little bit of just a tidbit of a phrase, it's like there's something good in there, right? It usually starts with just finding a couple of chords that I like. And then I'll play the chords over and over again. And at some point, a melody will start, or the lyrics will start coming. And all of that's in flux until something really hits.
Okay.
And usually it's a lyric thing for me. Like, usually the melody is, it comes along with the lyrics, but it's almost a little bit secondary. The lyrics come through, and when I'll say something really true, I stop, I cry a little bit, and it's like, okay, that stays. And then I'll use that phrase and then continue on, and
if
then
it makes you
wait
cry,
for the
you're
next
keeping it.
thing. Yeah, exactly. Wait for the next true thing to come out of my mouth.
So it can be as simple as starting with a phrase or even a line, something as simple as, he looked back at me before he left.
Right.
That could be a line, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's an idea.
Yeah.
What's the rest of the story?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Or like a moment that it's like, I want to capture the feeling of this moment that happened. And, and sometimes it's a little ambiguous. Sometimes it happens faster than others. But yeah, that's sort of my process.
But this one came pretty quickly, you said.
Oh yeah. This one was an active, working out a situation type dealio. And honestly, I look back on this relationship as one of the most golden writing opportunities I had. It was right at the beginning, but also, and I hadn't explored any of these ideas yet, and even though it really broke me, it was such a gift. It was such a gift of an experience to have such an intense experience. And I just so happened to have already just been picking up the guitar, and it was perfect divine timing for all of that. So I'm really grateful for all of the songs that came out of that period, and some of them are still my best.
So you were basically able to get the basic structure and complete the song in one night.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Definitely one night.
Okay. And then you went back and fine-tuned it probably, but
yeah, I mean, I think after you play it, 1,500 times or something, things change a little bit or get solidified, little nuances that you sing.
Okay.
But all of it was there. All the lyrics, all the chords, all the major points were all there from the very beginning.
Well, then let's do a little bit of a deep dive on the
sure.
And I'll keep an eye on the time because I don't want you to run right up to your performance.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
The recording process.
Sure.
How was this Was this the first song you've ever produced yourself?
It's the first song that I have completed production, and I was like, that's good as it's gonna get. I have a lot of them that are on the back burner waiting to be finished in that sort of way. So you'll definitely be seeing more tunes from me being released pretty quickly here. I've got another one that's like right on the precipice. So she'll be ready in, a month or two.
But you were just able to do this in your home?
Yes. Yeah, just in the living room.
You found just some software that is good for, I don't know, I mean, there's Pro Tools, there's a bunch of them, but I don't know.
Actually, it was a gift from Ryan, my husband.
Oh, very cool.
When we first started dating. So he bought it for me.
Okay.
I don't know if I should push software. Is that like an okay thing?
Well,
I'm not sponsored by them.
I was going to,
but
you totally can if you want to.
Yes.
You can if you want to. I mean, maybe they'll give you some money.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
If you promote them.
Studio One.
Okay, Studio One.
I mean, every program has the same sort of essential functions, but then the shortcuts and stuff and how you use all of the major cool tools that they have are a little bit different.
Which that probably involved a deep dive in some. Did they have a
video
tutorial you could watch?
That is the one thing that I really like about Studio One is that they have a lot of online support. There's videos for everything. Anytime that I've needed a term for something or needed a walkthrough of something, they've got a lot of support to help you with that.
Okay.
So that was why I was able to kind of do it myself.
Then for recording the guitar, was it just a direct? Did you run it through like a USB interface, your guitar into that, and then into the computer, kind of a thing?
That was the first thing that I tried, but I've got ungrounded plugs or something in my house.
There was a hum.
So there's a hum when I just plug it in.
You can get a ground lift adapter for that, but I don't know.
Right. You can. But I found I really liked the sound better through the condenser microphones. And I have two of them.
So you just put up a studio mic in front of your guitar.
I did.
That's
cool. And so I record separately. So I've got more control over the vocals and the guitar.
Did you just record the guitar acoustically, or did you put a studio mic in front of like a speaker?
Oh no, just acoustically.
Just acoustically.
Yeah,
okay.
And mic placement matters a little bit. Where you want to put it, but I use two different mics now because I've done a lot of trial and error, and I don't use like stereo setting, but it sort of mimics that to have two different condenser mics recording the same take on the guitar at the same time
in two different positions.
Yeah, and as long as you've got them in the right place, then you don't have any of the I'm forgetting the term right now, but if you have sometimes you can screw up stereo setting stuff and it will make things just disappear.
Oh, right. Okay.
In the audio. And so if you've got them set up correctly, then you don't have any of that problem.
Okay.
And but anyway, I like that a little bit better because it creates a little bit of wideness with the guitar.
Yeah.
And there's a little more like ambiance or something.
A fuller sound?
It's fuller, but it takes up more space in your ears or something like that because they're just a little bit of a difference between them,
Okay, and then did you record the guitar track first and then sing the vocals? I'm assuming you didn't just sing and play at the same time.
No, I definitely tried that on a lot of tunes.
Right.
But you don't get as much control.
Yes, yeah.
And since if you want to make like a really good vocal, you have to do a comp vocal, which means that you basically sing it up 100 different times and then take little pieces like, oh, it was the best phrase when I did it there.
Okay.
And then
the software allows you to do that.
Yes, it's very powerful stuff.
That is cool.
So that's the way that you can get the best sounding vocal, and because of that you can't play the guitar and sing at the same time.
Right.
So usually what I'll do, especially with a song like this that doesn't have a very strict time signature, some of my stuff has that pop feel where it's really, you want to keep it on the beat.
Right.
Really specifically is the wrong word, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And this is one of those more acoustic tunes that sort of like flows with the feeling of the song as far as the tempo goes. So what I usually will do is I'll record a bass track where I do the guitar and the vocal, and I'll sing it the way that I normally sing it with all the emotion that I like. And then I'll go back and I'll play guitar over that. And then then I'll have the rough guitar recording that I can use, and then I just sort of delete the original recording with guitar and vocal, and I start singing over the single guitar track.
Okay. So you do a demo vocal.
Yeah.
Then do almost a demo guitar. And then do the real vocal.
Right. Yeah.
And
Well,
the
the
real
demo
guitar.
guitar and vocal are the same time. So I
Okay.
I record
Got
it as
got
though
it.
I'm just going to play for a crowd
Right.
of
Okay.
people like I
Got
would do
You
it
don't
here.
do those separately.
Right.
Okay.
No. If you do, I've tried it that way, and if you do that, the timing is just weird.
Okay.
so so I stopped doing it like that.
Okay. And then you just a little keyboard. You said you
Oh,
did learn enough piano to
I
put some
did.
piano in the song.
It's like an old Yamaha
Yeah.
synthesizer,
Yeah.
but I use it as a MIDI controller, and I got it from my dad, my stepdad.
Okay.
He buys and sells all kinds of things, so everything music related he comes across. He's
And
like,
you
do
just
you want
learned
this?
enough piano to add this to the song.
Yeah, I just looked it up on an app, and
Yeah.
I figured out which guitar chords because I've capoed it up, so I don't actually know any music theory anymore. I used to know some, but I found out which chords I was playing on the guitar
Okay.
after I've capoed it, and then I found them on the piano, and so I just kind of like played around with it till I found something that I kind of liked, and
That's
I was like, yeah,
awesome.
that's good enough. Like,
I'm excited. I'm going to listen to
So,
it on Spotify. I'm excited
cool.
to hear this. And obviously you're going to play it tonight.
yeah,
Yes.
I'll
That
play
is
it tonight
cool.
for you.
Okay, so it sounds like you wrote the song a lot faster than it took to record it.
Oh God, yeah, that's always the case though. Like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you're a producer and you really know what the heck you're doing,
Right.
but I don't. So I would never claim to really know what I'm doing. I've released a song. I still don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But
And yes, you can cuss on the podcast. you fucking can. It's fine. We want to know the real Kylie.
well,
Be
they start
yourself.
to just sneak out. So
Be yourself.
sorry, Mom.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mom. I'm encouraging her.
It's okay. It's all right. She's, I'm in my 30s now, so I feel
You
like
get to
she
do
knows
that.
who the heck I am now. But
Well, then let's. I'm excited to hear it, but let's now just talk about a little bit about your origin story with music. Was it?
Sure.
Oh, you said you started playing guitar early 20s,
yes.
but were you musical before that?
Oh yeah, my whole family is musical, so
So you had an
know,
inspiration
it's-
from the family.
It's in the blood. My dad actually sings and plays guitar and writes songs and stuff too.
That's awesome.
And so when we were really young, he and my mom would do shows together, and she would sing and sometimes do
Wow.
like the little shakers
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff, and sometimes play piano. But and my dad would sing and play guitar, and yeah, and so really it's in my blood. But most of it, the drive, really comes from my dad, because he has the passion for it, you know.
Okay.
But my mom is also musical. My stepdad's also musical. He sings and he's very good.
That's awesome.
My sister's musical, and my brother's also pretty musical also, though he doesn't always let you
So
know.
it's just in the genes.
Yes, yeah, just in the genes. Since I popped out, I was probably singing. So
Then 22, 23, when you started guitar, did somebody buy you one or?
yeah, it was
Okay.
my dad.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad gave me my first guitar, and I think it was like, might have been Christmas of my 20th birthday. It was a couple of years before I actually picked it up and started playing it.
Yeah.
It was, he taught me a couple of chords, but it just wasn't time yet. And
Yeah.
so that's what I was saying before about how serendipitous all of everything that happens the way that it needs to. And for me,
Yes.
when that terrible heartbreak happened, it was so wonderful to have that outlet of the guitar. And I already had a little bit of framework. My dad showed me a couple of chords, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll get to it,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes.
So, but it was always the plan.
It's
was
not
to
about
play
me.
guitar.
I'm not going to but mine was kind of the same thing. My mom bought me a guitar, an acoustic,
Yeah.
set in the closet, I swear, for like 10 plus years
Right.
before the moment hit. And all of
Yep.
a sudden, yeah, timing's everything.
Yeah, and then you needed it, and
So,
she was there for you.
Picked it up early 20s. And then, I mean, gosh, that was, we don't have to cover your age,
That was a
but
little while
it
ago.
was a few years ago.
That's all right. I don't mind. I'm trying to get more comfortable with like getting older.
It's a beautiful
we're not
thing.
old.
It only
Like,
gets better.
but-
Trust me. I'm
Yeah.
52. It only gets better. 'Cause
Right,
you
right.
start figuring stuff out.
Right, exactly. I feel wiser. I feel more myself now. It's
And you get more
but-
comfortable in your own skin.
right. But it is like culturally ingrained in me that you lose worth as a woman after you turn
God,
like
no.
30. It's so
You
stupid.
become more valuable.
And intellectually, like I know,
Yeah.
I know, and I've experienced it. But it's hard to get out of that framework in my
Yeah.
heart
Yeah.
sometimes. But I will be 37 in
We are
December.
saying it.
I'm
Okay.
saying
You
it.
are still a young buck.
Yes, I mean, my goodness, and I know so much more now than I knew,
Yeah.
15 years ago when I wrote this particular song. And I just, in the next 15 years, what am I going to look back on now that I'm like, wow, I was so worried about
Yeah.
that, and I
A
was
little
so
shit, yeah.
wrong. Yeah, who cares? Like, anyway.
So picking it up, that bad breakup, write that
Yeah,
song,
yeah,
and
jeez.
was it kind of from that moment on, continuous progression of you just
Oh, yeah.
kept playing and writing, and so how long did it take before you played out the first time? That's because that's an interesting. And what was the sort? Did you just do an open mic, or were you playing for family and friends at a party?
That's a good question. It actually was not long after I wrote that song that I played out. Actually, it might have been before, honestly. It was an open mic, and I was working at a coffee shop at the
Okay.
time. And my manager wanted to do an open mic, and so we did it sort of. It wasn't pro bono, I don't think you call it. We did it for free,
Right.
and we worked it, and but we didn't get paid because it was, something that we wanted to do sort of extracurricularly, and we were a franchise, so we didn't have a ton of money, and we wanted to prove to the owners that it was going to be worth their time and money and stuff
Okay.
to pay us to do it in the future. So, but she was really excited because she wanted to give me my first opportunity to play out, and the people around me have always been really, really supportive of my music, and I was sharing it really openly back then. I'd bring my guitar to work a lot, and I think I had
God.
2 songs that I'd written that I could
Yeah.
play and sing on the guitar at the time, and so that was my first playing and singing experience.
by
I did a
then,
lot of
you
performing
you
before
already
that.
you already knew some covers by then.
No.
Oh, you were just playing
Covers came way
you were
later.
playing your original music.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Covers have been really challenging for me, honestly. It took me up until I was doing this professionally the last couple of years to learn covers.
Really?
So, yeah. yeah,
So
so
all-
it's
for
really
the
the covers
bulk-
have been last 5 years
The
maybe.
bulk of your playing time, it was you were writing your own stuff and
Oh,
playing
yeah.
your own stuff.
Yeah,
I'm the
absolutely.
complete opposite. I have no interest in writing. I
yeah,
just want to
most
play
people
covers.
are like that.
Wow, but that's
but
cool. That is
it's-
super cool.
It just is what it is, It was really challenging to learn how to play other people's music. And I still really, when I play a cover, I make it my own in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
So,
you put your own spin on it.
Right, but that's only because I have to. Otherwise, I won't be able to. Like, I can't play it the way that they play it. Like, that's just the honest truth. I wish that I had that talent. I just don't really have that talent.
Oh my gosh! So, several years of, and was it again just you? Were you at what point were you like booking gigs even with your original music?
Well, that's a good question.
I guess I'm talking about before you officially decided to make this your profession.
Before I officially decided, it was when we moved to Yakult. My husband and I, when we moved to Yakult, how many years ago was that? Like 10?
By the way, Ryan just
Listening?
came in.
Yes,
That's Ryan.
Okay.
And this mic's hot if you want to sit down and talk.
Yeah. My fishing husband. Anyway, I think about 10 years ago when we moved out to Yakult, and back then the Yakult Bar and Grill, it was just back roads.
Okay.
Pacific Northwest Pizza Company has bought it since then, but at
Okay.
the time it was a different company, and yeah, I don't remember if we were at an open mic first or if we were just talking to the employees there or whatever, but it's a small town feel, at some
Yeah.
point they were like, what do you like to do? And I was like, I play music and I sing songs. And so at some point somebody convinced somebody else to hire me to sing there, and so they gave me quite a few gigs.
Oh, so it was like you were like a reoccurring
Yeah.
gig there.
Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
was, and that was all before 2020.
Okay.
Before the business changed over
Right.
and everything like that. And I wasn't doing it for, I was kind of doing it more for funsies. Like, technically it was professional. I was being paid, but
you still had another job.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
okay, yeah.
So yeah, and it wasn't until after 2022, I think, that no, it must have been 2021, the end of 2021,
Mm-hmm.
that I started doing this professionally. I think that's right. This is my third
And that's
year,
about when
so.
you started learning covers then? Just to have
y-
more to
yeah,
play?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I knew like 2 covers when I was playing at the Yakult bar, because people like covers. People like things that they know, to
Right.
sing along to. And
Right. And eventually they're going to know your songs. That'll
Right,
that'll
yeah.
happen, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
If you
3
wanna
hours
fill
of
a-
somebody's original shit is kind of a
Yeah.
lot. So, unless you know it.
Right,
like,
right.
So, anyway.
And then, but so currently, and since then, 2021, ever, you're like, this is what I'm doing,
Right.
professional.
Yeah.
You don't have another job, but you're
No.
making money off this because
I
you're
am,
booking
yeah.
gigs all over the area.
Yeah,
and
more,
I've seen you in several
honestly,
places.
like more money than I thought that I was going to be making. I thought it was going to be a lot more of a struggle to be looking for gigs, but I'm really lucky that I've had a lot of repeat work,
Yeah.
and a lot of businesses have wanted me to come back, and a lot of, during the spring and the summer events and things, people have had me repeatedly. So yeah, I've been really lucky in that way.
So how many, what's your perfect, like 2 gigs a week? What would you ideally like? I mean, for the more gigs, the more money, but
Yeah.
at some point you don't, blow your voice out.
Yeah, that's true. 2 or 3 is what I have normally. Like, I'm pretty guaranteed to get 2, especially during the spring and the summer.
Okay.
3 starts to get a little bit tiresome. Mostly my fingers get tired.
Oh,
from
yeah.
Pushing the strings.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's like just kind of fatigue in general because we're driving a lot of places.
Welcome. Ryan's on the
But-
podcast. Here, pull it closer. Just try to keep it about a fist from your face, and it'll pick you up just fine.
Sounds good.
This is Kylie's amazing husband, Ryan.
He is amazing.
He had to run back and get the candy since it's Halloween.
Yes.
He did, and I forgot it. Thank you. You're the
You're
best.
welcome.
So 2 or 3 gigs a week.
2 or 3 gigs a week, probably ideally, but I don't know. I would play more than that if I had opportunities to play more than
Yeah.
that. It's just usually people are, Fridays and Saturdays.
Yes.
So
Yes. Although, didn't you do, what's the place in Ridgefield? Was that a midweek gig?
Oh yeah, Ridgefield.
I forgot the name of it.
Yeah, Sportsman's.
Sportsman's.
Yeah, they're great, but yeah, they do it on Wednesdays, and then of course here is a Thursday.
Yeah.
So, and I think they do it Mondays here too. But,
Yeah, I saw on the sign.
But
Yes.
yeah, there's a few places that will do Mondays and Thursdays and Wednesdays and stuff, and try to get my foot in the door with those places too. But a lot of times there's a lot of turnover. Like here, they've got a lot of different artists that they
right,
feature.
right.
So it's sometimes the turnover it's at least a month usually. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Sometimes a little bit more than that. So
And while you were gone, Kylie was just raving about how supportive you've been of her, and you bought her the software that allowed her to record.
Yes.
Fair Enough is
Yes.
the new song.
Fair
have
Enough
over
is
there.
the new song.
On Spotify now.
it's so weird.
It is very cool, actually.
It is very
So
cool.
this is a moment.
Yeah.
Once it was live, did you just like, I'm going to listen to my song
Oh,
on Spotify?
100%. Yeah.
the moment.
It's, of course. Well, I mean, and honestly, it wasn't so much as like, yeah, like go me, as it was like, let's just make sure I did all this shit right. like, just make sure that the song that I uploaded is the song that I wanted to. I'm always like double checking. So anxiety said it must be listened to now. So yep,
Yes.
I absolutely did that.
Because you're probably a little bit of a perfectionist.
Yeah. That's really what I've struggled with the most as far as producing music. And so I'm trying to let go of that a little bit. But I did want to make sure that it was correct before I came on here.
Yeah.
So
You want to say anything about this amazing woman you're married to?
Well, just keep doing what you're doing, baby.
Yeah.
You'll
I
be
love
famous
it.
one day.
Hell
yes,
yeah.
That's all right.
And then you become the tour manager.
Yeah,
So-
I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
I'll be the
I'm okay
roadie.
with that. Yeah. I'm okay with
Unload and load the gear.
Oh,
that.
and
He already does
I
that
should
for me.
explain.
So
I'm getting over a cold. That's why I'm wearing this. So I just don't want to get her sick. She has to be able to
I
sing.
appreciate
I
it.
didn't know if you were dressed up like a doctor.
No, this is. I got
I see
my
the
Harry
Harry
Potter.
Potter,
I got
there
a
you go.
robe. I got a
I
robe and a
know.
wand over here.
Oh,
I will
it's the
be.
robe that was missing.
It's
there.
over here. I will be
That's what I
casting some
said.
spells tonight
All right,
Yes.
sounds
and
good.
mystifying the audience. You're gonna get so
Please.
many sales.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
It is 3:13. We could probably
Perfect.
wrap it up if you want, because I don't want you to feel rushed.
Oh, no,
And then
I-
I still
we
need to
can-
do a sound check, which is
Oh,
how it's
sure.
gonna run.
I'm pretty much set up over there, so
Okay.
however long you want to go here, as long as I've got like 10 minutes
Yeah, yeah.
for my just,
And I
I just got to make sure that the guitar's in tune, and that's really all I got to
Yes.
do.
And
so
I was gonna, I wanted Rachel to have a chance, which I can leave this set up for a little bit. I just have to have time to pack it up before we actually open
yeah,
for
I
business.
think she's still planning on coming. We could text her. And see
Oh,
if she's,
did she not make it? I thought she said like an hour ago she was
No,
on
she
her way.
had her baker open up the
Oh.
door for us, so
I see.
they were very
Well, let's
nice.
at least. I can pause it, and if she gets here, we can
Sure.
pick it up. So again, Kiley Jeanne on Spotify. The new song is "Fair Enough."
It
We're at
is.
Farger Lake House. Awesome venue. They support live music. Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
Ryan, Kiley, you guys rock. And
Thank you.
and we can actually do another podcast and do it kind of what it's my thing, your
Sure.
origin story. But
Yeah.
this is focused on your music.
Well, I appreciate that. But
So-
yeah, this has been really fun. So anytime you want to have me back, I'm
Oh,
happy to come
I'm
and
sure
talk
I'll
to
be
you.
around at your gigs.
Sounds good.
Thank you for being on.
Hey, of course, of course.
And watch the chords. Ow, ow.
I know all about the chords.
Kind of messy.